Welcome everyone. I know you've heard of IBM, right? Everyone has. It's a huge computer manufacturer. Well, it used to be. But what you may be much less familiar with is the fact that NEC is essentially the Japanese equivalent to IBM, and they produced literally dozens of personal computer models, both for the office and for the home market, from the late 1970s, in fact, all the way well into the 2000s. And what I have for you today is this specimen here, the NEC Ready 325. It is a 386 SX 25 megahertz computer, and this would have been manufactured right around 1990 or so. And being the SX model, having the SX rather than the DX processor, it was most likely primarily aimed at the home market, because the SX processor is basically kind of a watered down version of the DX processor. It was kind of underpowered relative to the original DX version of this 386 computer. And you'll notice that there are no speakers here. That's because the computer would have come with just an internal speaker, has no sound card, doesn't even have onboard audio. So that's one thing that I sort of noticed right away. This is, far from a multimedia type computer. But there are a few things that I really do like about this computer that I thought were sharing. One of which is the keyboard here. So this is the NEC APC H412. Really nice keyboard. It's been pointed out that this is basically the a Japanese NEC version of the IBM model M keyboard, and it is a really nice solid keyboard. Maybe not quite as massive or as solid as the Model M, but it's pretty close. And between the two, quite honestly, if I'm doing a lot of typing, I actually think I prefer the NEC APC model to the Model M. The thing that I like the most about this keyboard is the fact that it has these really nice switches. It's got these NEC blue oval switches, feel really good, have a nice tactile mechanical feel to them. And it's very similar if you've used White Alps or Blue Alps. I've mentioned them in other videos. I really like those switches as well, but these are among my favorites. Now, a couple downsides though to this keyboard. You'll notice that it's actually quite yellowed, so the plastic really doesn't hold up that well when it's exposed to sunlight. And this one, like so many of these keyboards, it was exposed far too long and has that really kind of unpleasant yellow discoloring to it. But that's pretty easy to fix with some retro bright. What isn't quite so easy to fix is the fact that I think a number of these switches are in fact broken. A number of the keys don't work, including the A key and the down arrow key, which is a real downer. Yeah. Really nice switch, unfortunately not super robust. What else do we have here? The monitor, which is this nice SVGA 14-inch monitor, would have come with the system, and it too, you'll notice, is a bit yellowed from time and exposure to sunlight, but seems to work more or less just fine, so quite happy with that. And definitely some yellowing also with the floppy drives. Has both a 5 1/4 inch floppy and a 3.5 inch floppy drive in the front. Now, this computer also is one of those that comes with the mouse and keyboard ports in the front of the computer rather than the back, and that's both an advantage and a disadvantage. I think it's an advantage because, well, you don't have to reach around to the back, you don't have to move the computer around and so forth, which is really good because, well, it's heavy. Unfortunately, you'll notice that I've actually got the cords wrapped all the way around. They kind of awkwardly go all the way around the computer, and that's because the alternative to that is that you basically have all the cables just sort of bunched up here in front, and it's a lot of cabling basically, so it just kind of gets in the way, doesn't look very good. I'd actually rather run it around the back and come around that way, so it's not all just bunched up here. So, all right, so we're gonna open it up. Before I do that, I just wanted to mention the keyboard again, do a little typing demonstration for you, and then go ahead and take the top of the computer off, and we'll take a look at the inside, and then come back and take a look at SimCity and King's Quest 3 and how that runs on this system. All right, the back of the case here, we've got the serial and parallel ports. You'll notice no sound audio jack at all, no sound card, no onboard audio. This little clip here, you need this to be facing vertical in order to take the top of the case off. And to do that, basically you just have to get a good grip on it and push it forward. Kind of easier said than done, but eventually pops off and it just kind of lifts off from the back. Alright, inside we've got the motherboard and daughter board there. We've got the 386 processor. Easy to miss, it's pretty small. We've got space here for a math coprocessor. I've got actually 2 sticks of 2 megabytes of RAM, so 4 megabytes total. Got 3 ISA slots for expansion cards. And, you know, this is kind of neat. Sort of on top of the disk drive, we actually have all of the jumpers indicated here and their various settings. I also have this battery attached to the motherboard here, which is kind of nice because, you know, that way you don't have to worry about the battery actually corroding and leaking onto the motherboard. It makes it a little easier to replace as well. So thank you, Joel, for making this neat little menu here and for keeping your computer all these years too. It's kind of nice. So you now notice that that the music works. It doesn't sound great, but it is, of course, playing through the computer speakers. Unfortunately, SimCity will not play sound effects through the PC speaker. Not entirely sure why that is, but yeah, no sound effects, which kind of sucks. In SimCity, I kind of like the sound effects of the original game. And all you get is this, you know, very, very basic music through the PC speaker here. But the game does actually run pretty good, pretty smooth on this computer, on this 25 megahertz system. Alright, so I just realized I can't even type in Sierra to get to King's Quest on this computer because the A key doesn't work. Yeah, so I'm going to switch out this keyboard and then run King's Quest. Helps to put the floppy in the drive. This game actually needs you to put the floppy in there, kind of like a CD-ROM. And I didn't run the keyboard cable around the computer this time, so I just kind of have it awkwardly here in the front. Well, it seems to have frozen up, actually. Oh boy. Let me restart. Well, for some reason it's refusing to correctly read the disk, and I don't know if there's something wrong with my floppy or something wrong with the computer at this point, because I have actually gotten it to play King's Quest before, and it actually plays it fairly well. Again, as long as you're not expecting, be anything beyond the computer speaker in terms of the music and sound effects. But the game actually works quite well, or it did work quite well, and now for some reason I think there's something going on with the drive, so I'll have to take a look at that. But kind of have to take my word for it that it did run King's Quest 3 pretty well up until essentially right now when I decided to make this video. So I thought we'd do one more game. This is Stunt Driver. It was another one of Joel's games, one of his options there in his batch program. So yeah, this game kind of sounds like static coming through the PC speaker. And I swear I've played a game like this before. Actually, a number of games like this before, because there were a number of games that looked kind of like this, 16-bit colors, real basic 3D graphics. Oh, baby. Alright, so I pretty much suck at this game, but I don't know, I love playing games like this back in the early 90s. Alright guys, despite various parts of this computer kind of breaking before our eyes here, the floppy drive no longer working, and the keyboard kind of giving out various switches not working, the overall computer is still functional, and actually the monitor still, I think, looks pretty good, color's good, resolution's good, so that's some good news coming out of this. And the next step is really, I think, to figure out what's going on with the floppy drive, probably replace that, and go ahead and put in a sound card. So look for a new video where I, hopefully get all of this updated, including fixing the keyboard and getting it all put back into its original color as well by doing some retro bright and getting rid of the sort of nasty yellow that's gone on here. So thank you all very much for watching, and look forward to seeing you here in the near future.